strategic moves out of California after a wealth tax was proposed, including a one-time 5% tax on residents worth more than $1 billion. According to public filings, Google co-founder Larry Page has moved several businesses out of the Golden State to Delaware and Florida. Meanwhile, Oracle founder Larry Ellison reportedly sold his home in San Francisco for $45 million. That proposed tax has not yet qualified for the November 2026 ballot, but if it does eventually get passed, the hefty tax bill would be due in 2027. That is not good for the California economy, guys. Back over to you.
Well, have you heard them call Gavin Newsom the U-Haul governor?
And U-Haul just came out with a study that said that California was the state that more U-Hauls moved out of.
Right. And where were they going?
State. Texas.
South Carolina,
yep,
Texas,
right.
Tennessee, Florida. There was one more.
I wonder what's in common with all of those states.
Right. Now, by the way,
good evening, my fellow patriots. Welcome back to Harlan Reports. Before we even start, I have a huge favor to ask you. Please, right now, reach out and hit that like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, and please share this video with your family, your friends, and everyone you care about. The mainstream media, they aren't going to tell you the truth about what is happening tonight. They won't tell you the real story because it doesn't fit their narrative. But you deserve to know. We need to spread this truth far and wide because our country depends on it.
as your governor, I promise you, whatever challenges come our way, I will always lead the California way.
You are literally insane.
I say that's the California way.
You guys are really awesome. Thank you so much.
Based on compassion.
I mean, if we're going to be realistic, they pay you to be homeless here.
Common sense. Clean and sober is one of the biggest damn mistakes this country's ever made. We all need to self-medicate periodically. Telling the truth. Telling the truth. Treasuring our diversity.
Use the fist to hit my...
Telling the truth. Following science. Protecting our planet.
Love like yours will surely come my way. Hey, hey, hey.
Gavin Newsom, courage through crisis.
Put this on X, but when you look at our friends that have all explicitly left, it's about $500 billion of net worth, which I think is very bad for the long-term budget of California. Then I can pick about 25 people just off the top of my head. And then if you think about all the people that will stay and fight, I still intend to stay and fight. But if we're forced to look down the barrel of an asset tax that has God knows what methodology, it's the only thing that's united everybody on the left and the right. Even Reid Hoffman thinks this is insane. I think a lot of other people will leave. It's probably half the total wealth that the budget estimated would be available to be taxed will be gone.
Wow. I mean, these are, I don't understand.
That has huge implications to the social programs and the general budget of California.
Folks, tonight my heart is heavy. I've been reporting the news for a long time, and I've seen this country go through so many changes. But what I have to tell you tonight, honestly, it brings tears to my eyes. We are witnessing a tragedy, a real American tragedy unfolding right before us in real time. I need you to listen closely because this is heartbreaking. California, the Golden State, is officially collapsing. When I was a young man, California was the place everyone wanted to go. It was the land of sunshine and dreams. It was where you went if you wanted to build something big, something amazing. It was a symbol of what America could be. But tonight, that dream is dying. It hurts me so much to say that, but it is the truth. We just received word of something that signals the end. Larry Page and Sergey Brin, the founders of Google, two of the most brilliant minds who built one of the biggest companies in the world, are leaving. They are packing their bags. They are taking their families, their businesses, and their future, and they are fleeing the state. Just think about that for a second. These are men who helped build the modern world from a garage in California, and now they feel they have no choice but to run. They are taking nearly $700 billion in wealth with them. That is money that could have built schools, fixed roads, and helped communities. Now, it is walking out the door, never to return. Why is this happening? It's because of Governor Gavin Newsom and his terrible, disastrous new billionaire tax. He thought he could just take what doesn't belong to him. He thought he could punish success and that there would be no consequences, but he was wrong. And now, the people of California are going to suffer for it. Newsom is in a total panic right now. His so-called socialist utopia is crumbling into dust. He drove away the people who were paying the bills, and now he is left with nothing but empty pockets and broken promises. It makes me want to weep for the good people left behind in that state who have to deal with this mess. But folks, wipe those tears, because there is a light in this darkness. While Newsom is destroying wealth, President Donald Trump is building it. While Democrats are driving people away, President Trump is welcoming them back to the rest of America with open arms. He is the only thing standing between us and this kind of total collapse. We have so much more to cover. You need to understand exactly what this tax does and why it is so evil. Stay tuned, because the truth is just getting started.
Well, it's just taking the insanity of California to another level for multiple reasons. But let's just assume first, for the sake of argument, that this actually were to work as intended, and you had these billionaires who suddenly had 5% of their net worth confiscated. Well, is that actually going to solve California's problems? No, it's not going to solve California's problems. All it's going to do is create more opportunities for fraud. We know this because over 5 years of Gavin Newsom's governorship, total revenue, tax revenue in California, the total budget increased by $124 billion, and yet everything got worse in the state. We continue to lead the nation in poverty, in unemployment, in homelessness, in illiteracy, and a lot of other areas where you don't want to lead the nation. And so the way to solve the problems we have in California is to reform our government, not to simply try to extract yet more tax revenue.
Well, let's get to some of the key points of this tax here. All right. As we've mentioned, 5% tax on billionaires' assets. Wipe out that. It's proposed for November 2026. On the ballot, if passed, retroactive January 1st, 2026. Now, 90% of the revenue is supposed to go to health care. 200 estimated billionaires, $2 trillion in wealth. Estimated tax raise, $100 billion. 25 billion cap. Okay, Hillary, I'm just going to kind of agree with Kevin there that how are you going to trust the state of California to actually do right with this money? I have a hard time believing that.
Well, Bob, you're absolutely right. I agree with Kevin as well, Congressman Kiley, but also for once, are you ready? I'm going to defer to Governor Newsom. He has actually said not to be panicked by this. He's against this. If Governor Newsom is against the tax, you have to know it must be absolutely ghastly. This is on the ballot for November. And I think what California should do is look to Norway and look to the UK. Norway instituted a wealth tax, and they have seen an absolute exodus of all of their millionaires. It's actually devastated Norway. And in the UK, one millionaire leaves the UK every 45 minutes due to the wealth tax. So take a lesson from those two countries that are failing because of this kind of wealth tax. It doesn't work. And the last but not least, there is the expression, the more you tax of anything, the less you get of it. There'll be less revenue because they will leave.
But Kevin, there also seems to be this idea that, you're living in California. How could you possibly give that up? No matter how much it costs, no matter what we do with it. And California takes a lot of money. They already have high taxes. And what they do is they just spend more. So it just puts them further into debt. Are people willing, especially billionaires, that's a lot of money. Are they willing to just pay that to deal with it? Because they want to live in California.
But your point is well taken. You have to really hard to mess a place like California up, one of the most beautiful states in the entire country. But sadly, during Gavin Newsom's tenure, we've actually seen California's population decline for the first time in our history. For 4 straight years, California has actually led the nation in outbound U-Haul levels, and that's a per capita number. And so this includes people, by the way, from all parts of the income distribution. A lot of people leave California because they just can't afford to live here, or because we have the highest unemployment. There simply isn't the opportunity. But and this has actually been measured in terms of the tax revenue we lose when people leave, but it's particularly problematic because of the way that California's tax structure is set up. In many years, the top 1% of earners, they pay 50% of the overall tax revenue. And so what happens if some of those people start to leave? Well, it's a house of cards that comes crashing down. And this idea of we're just going to confiscate 5% of your total net worth because we want to, that could push people, that could be the tipping point that ultimately causes our state's finances to collapse.
All right, Congressman Kiley and Hillary, thank you very much for being with us again.
Now, you might be asking yourself, Harlan, why on earth would two of the richest men in the world leave the place where they started it all? They didn't leave because of the traffic. They didn't leave because of the weather. They left because the government of California decided to reach into their pockets and take what doesn't belong to them. Let's break this down so it's crystal clear. California isn't just asking for a fair share anymore. This new billionaire tax is a one-time 5% seizure of wealth. Imagine you spend your whole life building a beautiful house, you work double shifts, you save every penny, you lay the bricks yourself. Then one day the government knocks on your door and says, nice house, we're gonna take 5% of it. Not because you sold it, not because you made money on it, but just because you have it. That is exactly what Gavin Newsom and his cronies are trying to do. They want to tax money that hasn't even been made yet. It's un-American. It's theft, plain and simple. And Larry Page and Sergey Brin, they saw the writing on the wall. They looked at their spreadsheets and realized that if they stayed one more day, just one more day past the new year, they would be on the hook for billions of dollars to pay for a failed state's mistakes. So what did they do? They ran. They got out while the getting was good. And can you blame them? If someone told you they were going to rob you on January 1st, wouldn't you leave town on December 31st? Of course you would. But here's the tragedy, folks. When they left, they didn't just take their luggage. They took nearly $700 billion in wealth with them. That is $700 billion. That is no longer in California's economy. That's investment money gone. That's future jobs gone. It breaks my heart to see a state that used to be the envy of the world turn into a cautionary tale. So while California is chasing people away with pitchforks, President Trump is down in Florida and in the White House saying, come on in. He's telling the job creators, we want you here. We will protect you here. And that is the difference between a leader who builds a nation and a politician who destroys one. And the worst part, this is just the first domino. When the big guys leave, who do you think picks up the tab? It's not the billionaires. They're already gone. It's you. It's the small business owner. It's the family trying to buy groceries. Stay with me, because in the next segment, I'm going to show you exactly how this disaster is going to hit the average American family. And it is going to make you furious. You might be sitting there in your living room thinking, Harlan, I'm not a billionaire. I don't have a private jet or a mansion. Why should I care if Larry Page and Sergey Brin leave California? Let me look you in the eye and tell you the honest truth. You should care because when the big money walks out the door, the bill doesn't just disappear. It lands right on your kitchen table. When these billionaires leave, they take their tax money with them. That is billions of dollars that used to pay for police, for schools, for fire trucks. Now that money is gone. Poof, vanished. But Gavin Newsom still needs to pay the bills. He still has his expensive programs. So who do you think he's going to come for next? He cannot tax the guys who left. They are already safe in Florida or Nevada. He is going to come for you. He is going to come for the middle class. I want to tell you about a woman named Sarah. She's a florist in Sacramento, right there in the belly of the beast. She's not rich. She drives a van that's 10 years old. She wakes up at 4 a.m. every single day to arrange flowers, just to keep a roof over her head and put braces on her daughter's teeth. She is the backbone of this country. She is the American dream. But right now, Sarah is terrified. I'm telling you, folks, the fear in her voice would break your heart. She knows what's coming. She knows that to fill that $700 billion hole, the state is going to squeeze every dime out of. Small businesses like hers, she told me, Harlan, I feel like I'm being punished just for working hard. I don't know if I can keep my doors open. Imagine that. Imagine working your whole life to build something, only to have the government destroy it because they got too greedy. Sarah is sitting at her kitchen table tonight, looking at a stack of bills, crying because she feels like her own government has betrayed her. It is a tragedy. It is cruel. But this is where we see the difference. This is why we fought so hard to get President Trump back in the White House. While Newsom is looking at Sarah and seeing a piggy bank he can smash open, Donald Trump looks at Sarah and sees a patriot. He sees a hero. Trump knows that you don't build a great nation by punishing the people who work. He is fighting every day to cut her taxes, to slash the regulations, to get the government off her back so she can breathe. Again, Trump is the shield, standing between Sarah and the disaster in California. But sadly, for many in that state, the panic is already setting in. You won't believe what is happening on the streets as we speak. Stay with me, because in the next segment, I'm going to take you to the front lines of this economic collapse, and it is going to shock you. Folks, I want you to close your eyes for a moment. Imagine walking down your main street. You see the bakery where you got your birthday cakes? Gone. The hardware store where your dad taught you about tools? Boarded up the little diner where you met your sweetheart? Empty. This isn't a nightmare. This is the reality facing California right now. When $700 billion leaves, it doesn't just hurt the stock market, it kills the soul of our communities. I've seen reports coming in from San Francisco and Los Angeles that would make you weep. Beautiful buildings, once full of life and innovation, now have for rent signs, gathering dust in the windows. I spoke to a police officer in San Francisco, let's call him Officer Dave, a tough guy, served in the Marines. He told me, Harlan, it feels like everyone gave up. The big money left, and now the streets are just quiet. But not a peaceful quiet. It's a scary quiet. He said he sees regular folks packing up U-Hauls at midnight, trying to sneak out before the tax collectors find them. It's like a movie, but it's real life. And it's happening to our fellow Americans. Governor Newsom, he's in denial. He's out there giving speeches about shared sacrifice. But let me ask you, is he sacrificing? No, he's dining at fancy restaurants while the people he swore to serve are losing their livelihoods. It makes me so angry I could spit. It's a betrayal of the highest order. But listen to me, because there is hope. While California turns into a ghost town, look at what's happening in the states that embrace President Trump's vision. Florida, Texas, Tennessee, they are booming. They are building new schools, new factories, new dreams. It's because they understand a simple truth that Trump has preached for years. You cannot tax your way to prosperity. You have to unleash the American spirit. I want you to hold on to that hope, because even as we watch California stumble, we are seeing the rest of America rise up stronger than ever. The contrast couldn't be clearer. On one side, darkness and decline. On our side, a bright, shining dawn. And let me tell you, the best is yet to come. Don't go anywhere, because next, I'm going to tell you about the secret weapon President Trump is using to save our economy. And it's going to make you proud to be an American. So, what is this secret weapon? It's not some fancy new algorithm from Silicon Valley. It's not a government handout. The secret weapon that is saving this economy is energy dominance. For 4 long years, we were told to be ashamed of our own strength. We were told to shut down the pipelines, cap the wells, and apologize for using the resources God gave this great land. California bought into that lie, hook, line, and sinker. And look at them now, paying through the nose for electricity while their grid flickers like a dying candle. But President Trump, on day one, he signed the orders, he looked the drillers, the miners, and the roughnecks in the eye and said 3 beautiful words: drill, baby, drill. I want to introduce you to a man named Rick. Rick lives in Western Pennsylvania. I've known Rick for years. He's a good man, a family man. Under the last administration, Rick lost his job at the plant. He told me back then, Harlan, I feel like I failed my kids. I look at their empty plates and I want to die. Hearing a grown man, a strong man sob like that, it haunts you. But I called Rick yesterday. I asked him, Rick, how are things? You know what he said? He laughed. He said, Harlan, I can't talk long. I'm working my 3rd overtime shift this week. We can't get the stuff out of the ground fast enough. He told me that for the first time in years, he took his wife out for a nice steak dinner and paid cash. He said the air in his town smells like diesel and dirt, and to him, it smells like freedom. That is what makes me cry tears of joy tonight. While Gavin Newsom is chasing away billionaires with taxes, Donald Trump is creating thousands of cricks with cheap energy. When energy is cheap, factories come home. When factories come home, towns come back to life. But here's the hard truth we have to face next. While Rick is celebrating in Pennsylvania, there are people trapped in California who aren't billionaires. They aren't tech moguls. They are the forgotten men and women who can't afford a U-Haul, let alone a private jet. They are being left behind in the rubble, and what is happening to them right now is a humanitarian crisis. In the next chapter, we're going to look at the victims Newsom won't talk about. I need to take a deep breath before I tell you this next part, because it truly hurts my heart. We talk about billions of dollars and big politics, but we forget the real people who get crushed when leaders like Gavin Newsom play games with people's lives. I want you to meet Maria. She's a grandmother living in Los Angeles. She's lived there for 50 years. She raised her kids there. She remembers when her neighborhood was safe, when she could walk to the store without fear. But now, Maria is a prisoner in her own home. With the economy in California collapsing because the wealth is fleeing, the city has stopped fixing the lights. They've stopped patrolling the streets. Maria called our show, and she was crying. She said, Harlan, I'm 78 years old. My husband passed away 3 years ago. I'm all alone. Last week, someone broke into my shed and stole my late husband. Its tools, it was all I had left of him. Can you imagine that pain? A widow robbed of the last memories of her husband because the state she loves has turned into a lawless wasteland. The police didn't come. They didn't have the budget. Why? Because the tax money walked out the door with the billionaires. It makes me so angry I can barely speak. These politicians in their ivory towers don't care about Maria. They don't care that she's scared to sleep at night. They only care about their power and their radical agenda. But there is someone who cares. President Trump cares. When he hears stories like Maria's, he doesn't just offer empty words. He takes action. He's sending federal support to cities that actually enforce the law. He's telling the governors, if you cannot protect your people, step aside, because we will. That is the comfort we have tonight. We know that help is on the way. We know that we have a fighter in the White House who won't let Maria be forgotten. But folks, the fight isn't over. In fact, the most shocking part of this whole story is yet to come. You won't believe who is actually cheering for this collapse. It's sick, it's twisted, and I'm going to expose it all in the next segment. I told you I was going to expose something sick, something that turns my stomach, while Maria is crying in her home, while Sarah is staring at her bills, while the very foundation of California is crumbling. There are people popping champagne corks. You heard me right. Who are they? They are the radical far-left activists, the ones who whisper in Gavin Newsom's ear. They are the ones who hate success. To them, Larry Page and Sergey Brin leaving isn't a tragedy. It's a victory. They actually believe that driving out the job creators is a good thing because they think it brings about equality. But let me tell you what their version of equality looks like. It looks like everyone being equally poor. It looks like everyone suffering together in the dark. I saw a video online just this morning. A group of these activists were marching in San Francisco, chanting, "Good riddance to the rich." They were smiling, laughing, celebrating the fact that billions of dollars were leaving their state. They don't care that their own neighbors are losing jobs. They don't care that the tax base for schools and hospitals is vanishing. They are blinded by envy and hatred. It's like watching someone set fire to their own house just because they don't like the furniture. It is madness, and it makes me weep for the future of our culture if we let this mindset spread. But here is where President Trump stands like a wall against the tide. He understands something these radicals never will. You don't help the poor by destroying the rich. You help the poor by creating opportunity. You help the poor by making sure there are jobs and factories and businesses hiring. President Trump looks at success and says, "Good job. Now go help others do the same." The radicals look at success and say, "You are the enemy." The contrast is terrifying. Folks, if these people had their way, the whole country would look like the empty streets of San Francisco. But we aren't going to let that happen. We are going to fight back with truth, with hard work, and with the American spirit. And speaking of fighting back, wait until you hear what the other states are doing right now. It's not just billionaires leaving. It's a full-blown revolution. And I'm going to tell you all about it next. And it's not just the radical activists who are waking up to a harsh reality. No, something even bigger is happening. Something that the mainstream media is absolutely terrified to show you. Across this great country, regular folks, Democrats, independents, people who never voted before are looking at California and saying, "I don't want that for my family." I have a friend in Nevada, a state that borders California. He told me that his town is flooded with refugees from the Golden State. But here is the amazing part. These aren't the rich people. These are the teachers, the mechanics, the nurses. And do you know what they are doing the minute they cross that state line? And they are registering as Republicans. Why? Because they have seen the ghost of Christmas future, and it is ugly. They have lived through the blackouts. They have paid the insane gas prices. They have watched their neighborhoods crumble while the politicians lectured them about equity, and now they are done. It brings tears to my eyes to see this awakening. It's like a fog is lifting. People are realizing that the American dream isn't dead. It was just being held hostage by bad ideas. And now they are running into the arms of the party that actually believes in freedom. President Trump sees this too. He's not just welcoming them, he's celebrating them. He knows that every person who flees a failed blue state is a testament to the power of his America First agenda. He's building a coalition unlike anything we've ever seen. A coalition of the working class, the forgotten man, the people who just want a fair shake. But folks, we can't get complacent. The enemy is desperate. They know they are losing the argument, so they are going to fight dirty. In the next chapter, I'm going to warn you about the one thing they might try next to stop. And this movement, and we need to be ready. Now, I have to warn you about something very serious. The people who are destroying California, the people who are celebrating this collapse, they are not going to give up without a fight. They see the writing on the wall. They see that you are waking up. They see that billionaires, workers, and families are rejecting their socialist nightmare. And it scares them to death. So what are they going to do? They are going to try to shame you. They are going to call you names. They are going to say that if you support President Trump, you are a bad person. They are going to say that wanting safe streets and a strong economy makes you selfish. I want to tell you a story about my own grandson, little Jimmy. He came home from school the other day with tears in his eyes. He said, "Grandpa, my teacher said that people who want to lower taxes are greedy. Can you believe that? Indoctrinating our children because they can't win the argument with adults." It made my blood boil. But then I looked at Jimmy and I said, "No, son. Wanting to keep what you earn so you can take care of your family isn't greedy. It's responsible. It's American. They will try to divide us. They will try to pit neighbor against neighbor. They will try to make you feel alone. But look at me right now. Look into my eyes. You are not alone. There are millions of us, millions of patriots who love this country, who love our flag, and who are tired of being told that success is a sin. We have to be strong. We have to be brave. Because the harder they scream, the more we know we are winning. The more they panic, the more we know that their time is up. So let them call us names. Let them rage. We have something they don't have. We have the truth, we have the results, and we have a leader in the White House who will never, ever apologize for putting America first. Hold your head high, folks. The storm is raging, but we are the anchor. And in the final chapter, I'm going to leave you with a message that will fill your heart with so much pride, you'll want to stand up and salute. And that brings us to the final thought tonight. I want you to remember this moment. Remember where you were when you heard that California was finally facing the consequences of its actions. Remember the fear they tried to instill in us, and remember how we rejected it. Because despite the chaos in the blue states, despite the panicked headlines, something beautiful is rising in this country. It's not just a political movement, it's a spiritual renewal. I see it in the faces of the young people who are proud to wear the American flag again. I hear it in the voices of workers who are finally optimistic about their future. We are watching the old corrupt system crumble. It's scary, yes. Change is always scary, but what is coming next is glorious. We are rebuilding this nation on the solid rock of freedom, faith, and family. We are proving to the world that when you unleash the American spirit, there is nothing we cannot achieve. President Trump is leading the way, but he cannot do it alone. He needs you. He needs your voice, your courage, and your prayers. We are all in this together, folks. We are the guardians of this great experiment, and I have never been more confident that we are going to succeed. So tonight, wipe away those tears of frustration and let them be replaced by tears of joy. Because the darkness is fading, the sun is rising, and the best days of America are not in our past. They are right here, right now in our future. Thank you for watching, thank you for caring, and thank you for being a patriot. Please, before you go, do me one last favor. Hit that subscribe button, like this video, share with everyone you know. Let's spread this message of hope to every corner of this land. We need to grow this army of truth tellers, and it starts with you. From all of us here at Harlan Reports, good night, God bless you, God bless President Trump, and may God forever bless the United States of America.